Hello everyone. Tonight, a warning for Ghana. The International Monetary Fund cites COVID-19 wave, rising debt stock, large financing needs as threats to Ghana's economic recovery in the coming months. How do we navigate that? We will discuss. Also ahead tonight, a former technical advisor at the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Sam Mensah, calling for a bipartisan approach in dealing with Ghana's debt crisis. We'll hear from him.
We are not going to be able to solve that problem easily until we get a national consensus. In other words, getting both sides of the aisle to come together and agree on a plan.
And a major signing between Ecobank Ghana and French public finance institution Proparco to support small and medium enterprises to recover swiftly from the impact of the pandemic. Hello everyone, this is Business Live. My name is Darryl Kwa. We've got details right after this. First up tonight, Ecobank Ghana and Proparco, the public finance institution of the French government, have signed a 50 million cedi partnership agreement to support micro, small and medium enterprises recover swiftly from the effects of COVID-19. This will come as a big boost to operations of many SMEs which suffered from the ravaging impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's more in the following report.
The partnership, which is part of the Choose Africa and ARIS initiatives, will pave way for Ecobank to offer loans at competitive interest rates to the MSMEs and create in excess of 50,000 jobs across the country. Managing Director of Ecobank Ghana, Dan Saki, says the loans will go in a long way to build their capacities and expand market opportunities for the MSMEs.
We at Ecobank are particularly very interested in the new addition, which is the Choose Africa segment of this portfolio, because one, it comes to complement the effort that we are trying to put in, not just in providing financing, but also in building capacity, also in helping expand market opportunities. These are the areas where we think SMEs try to stand to benefit most, because after providing the financing, if we don't expand the market opportunities, if we don't introduce them to other markets, it can be in the same town, it can be in the same city, it can be in the same country, but then it provides the ability to grow their businesses and not only grow but also sell.
Mr. Saki later told Joy Business the funding is coming at a crucial time to aid the recovery of MSMEs.
COVID has hit, and one of the sectors that has suffered most is SMEs. One, in terms of the disruption in their value chain and the need for them now to rebuild it, to be able to rebuild capacity. So having funding that allows you to help SMEs expand capacity and to rebuild lost supply chains is important in helping the recovery, not only of the sector, but also of the economy. As you know, they are one of the major contributors to employment in the economy.
Country representative for Proparco Ghana, Pascal Kwasi, said his outfit is happy to partner Ecobank to roll out these new initiatives specifically designed in response to the COVID-19 crisis.
Micro businesses and SMEs are important to Proparco. And the reason is that these companies are a building block to the economy and create about 60 to 80% jobs in Africa in the formal sector. Unfortunately, this company growth are impeded by some obstacles, including lack of capital, poor governance, problems with clients, suppliers, subcontractors. It is therefore important for international development institutions to step in to support these companies by first providing capital and second, technical assistance capacity building.
French ambassador to Ghana, Annie-Sophie Ave, also said the French government will continue to play a leading role in the development of the Ghanaian economy.
We need to have economic activities all over Ghana. This is a matter of growth, it's a matter of creating jobs, but beyond that, it's a matter of security. We see in countries that are threatened with terrorism and instability, one of the ground for that is that in some areas, in some very large areas, territories of those countries, the state isn't there. There's no jobs, there's no companies. So occupying the whole territory with jobs, growth, wealth, and something that people will be proud of and will want to help thrive. They feel they belong to it, and they feel it is actually feeding them, their villages, and beyond. That is one key strategy to tackle also the issues of security.
Proparco and the EcoBank Group have a long-standing history of supporting the private sector in West Africa with a focus on small and medium-sized enterprises. Following an analysis of financing data research by EcoBank, companies with less than 200 employees affected by the pandemic will be eligible to apply for loans with maturities ranging between 12 and 60 months under the Choose Africa.
Now, a finance expert and former technical advisor to the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Sam Mensah, is advocating a national consensus or bipartisan approach as solution to address Ghana's rising debt stock. According to him, the only way to fix both the country's ballooning debt and high budget deficit situation is for the two major political parties to agree on a specific strategy to improve the fiscal economy. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of his book, Inside Out. The book tells the story of his 10-year engagement with the Ministry of Finance as technical advisor.
Ghana's budget deficit situation has been described as a structural problem. According to finance expert and former technical advisor to the Finance Ministry, Dr. Sam Mensah, Ghana spends more than its resources, a situation which has compelled authorities to borrow. He therefore wants the two major political parties to agree on a roadmap to clear the debt stock.
We're in a debt situation that economists would call a structural situation. Structural in the sense that it's built into, able to solve that problem easily until we get a national consensus. In other words, getting both sides of the aisle to come together and agree on a plan for reducing the deficit and bringing the debt down. So I'm saying that we need a political process that will enable us to bring the debt down. Until we get to the point where the two partisan sides are on the same wavelength and can mobilize the people they are supported behind a national deficit strategy, it's going to be very difficult because of the politics. You know, the incumbent government has to take the lead, I think, in trying to mobilize bipartisan support for a deficit or debt reduction plan.
Ahead of the budget review, Dr. Mensah advised government to be keen on cost reduction as the economy is still recovering from the shocks of COVID-19.
I think the government should hold on very tight to its deficit reduction plan and try to contain expenses. And if they're able to do that, we will be on track from recovering from the COVID crisis. So that's what I expect the government to be able to tell us, that they are on track in terms of their deficit and debt management strategies.
Economist Professor Ernest Aite commended the Finance Ministry for exhibiting professionalism in decoupling finance duties from economic planning. He described Dr. Sam Mensah as someone with immense ideas who has the country at heart.
I think it's a great idea that Dr. Sam Mensah had to write his memoirs. We will get to know how the Ministry of Finance works, how government works, and how different people can contribute to the work of government. I think it's a much more professional organization than it used to be many years ago. So I'm quite happy with some of the things that they are doing.
All right. Well, talk about a bipartisan approach to fixing our debt crisis. I don't see that coming anytime soon. But as far as the economy is concerned, this week the International Monetary Fund is warning that the Ghanaian economy is still facing some significant uncertainty in the coming months. This is despite the current recovery from COVID-19 shocks that hit the economy last year. According to the fund, its assessment is based on the new COVID-19 wave, rising debt stock, and large financing needs of government. Now, these concerns were captured in the IMF's Executive Board's Article 4 consultation with Ghana, which was finalized on Monday. Now, the IMF in its report noted that whilst risk to the country's capacity to repay its debt has increased, it believes that they are still manageable. It also maintained that the debt will rise further this year, costing 80% of GDP by December 2021. The Article 4 consultations are done by the fund to assess the health of member countries. Now, joining me now is Yaolate partner and financial advisory leader at Deloitte Ghana to discuss this. And great to have you tonight. And congratulations in order. We haven't spoken on TV since you're promoted to partner. Congratulations, Yao.
Okay, thank you very much, Daryl. Thank you.
Right. Your thoughts on the IMF's warning and how do we navigate that?
Yeah, so I think the IMF warning, it's well in order, I would say, because there are some prospects which have not inured to our benefits. So the first one being, you would say, our challenges with our COVID management. So we had some supply challenges with the supply and distribution of the COVAX. And as a result of that, our COVID plan or rollout plan for vaccination has been affected. And as you know, we propose or we are budgeted getting a GDP of 5% in 2021. So if our COVID vaccination rollout delays, that affects our ability to increase economic activity as expected, and we may not hit our target. The second challenge we will have, or we've had, is our rising debt levels. And you notice that in the first quarter of the year, we went to the commercial market to borrow $3 billion Eurobond. That had its own pluses and minuses. So the plus was that it increased our forex reserves, and our CD stabilized over the period. But then our debt levels has increased because we ended the year at a debt level of 73% of GDP. If you add the 3 billion to that, our 296 billion debt that we had by the end of the year, you will notice that we are in excess of 300 billion Ghana cedis of debt. That is some risk which the IMF has noted. And so these are some of the challenges that we had. And in addition to that, some countries have entered into a third and fourth wave of COVID. These are countries that, in ordinary sense, demand some of our primary export commodities, gold, the diamond, oil resources, and so on and so forth. So if they enter into third and fourth wave of COVID, the IMF has noted, and government will have to observe that. But we have some opportunities, or like I said, there are some prospects. The first one being oil prices. So in the government of Ghana budget statement for 2021, government had estimated oil price to be at about 54.8%. As we speak, oil price about 70% per barrel. That is an opportunity government should take advantage of. Support the Jubilee oil partners to increase production so that we get the upsides or the windfall from the high levels of oil prices. Because if the trend, as we are seeing, is anything to go by, it is possible there's a risk that some countries will go into the third and fourth wave. That will likely affect oil prices adversely, in which case oil price was likely to tumble down again. But now that oil price at 70% per barrel, almost 70% per barrel, we will want government to take advantage of that, support the Jubilee oil partners to increase production. The second thing is that we've seen government rolled out some tax policies and tax programs. One of them is the increase of VAT by 1 percentage point. We expect that to yield some positive returns because there's gradual return to buoyant economic activity. People are buying, people are selling. And if you have a tax on VAT or increase in VAT and there's economic activity, there's increased economic activity, you are likely to get a lot of returns on that. What we expect government to do is to ensure that the revenues that are mobilized from our internal generated sources, like the increase in taxes, are used for the intended purposes. We do not expect, or we are hoping that we don't enter into a third wave of COVID, where we have to go on lockdown, we have to support.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we are told that we are already experiencing a third wave of COVID-19 because our numbers are really shooting up. And so what sort of crisis does that present to us, especially when we are looking at economic recovery as well as business recovery?
Yeah, so I think the risk is there. And the risk with COVID are in two fronts. So what happened in 2020, if it's anything to go by, the two fronts that I mentioned is one, there is a significant decline in economic activities. And as a result of that, all the revenue that we have budgeted to be gotten out of indirect taxes, the increase in VAT, the increase in all the indirect taxes that government put in the budget, we are not likely to achieve that target. The second will be that government will have to increase expenditure to support its COVID management programs. Last year, we spent 11.7 billion Ghana cedis in COVID support activities alone. That 11.7 billion is significant. It's a lot of money that was on budget for. As a result of that, our deficit, which was projected to be at less than 5%, we ended the year at about 11.7 or 11.8%. So if we go into a situation where it becomes an extreme situation, where we have to go on lockdown and stuff like that, we are likely to miss our target for 2021. We are likely to incur a lot more expenditure as government, and then we are likely to borrow, in which case you'll be eating into or getting into a situation where we getting into the worsening debt situation that we've had historically. So we want to avoid that. If we want to avoid that, we have to take advantage of all the measures available.
By the IMF and figures like what we are hearing from Fitch. And how come we don't feel the growth trickle down?
Yeah, so I think for Ghana as a country, there are a lot of things that have inured to our benefit. One of them is that we've had the benefit of not getting into a situation where we have to deal with insurgent situation, we have to deal with violence, we have to deal with all the political instability that we are seeing in neighboring countries and other sub-Saharan African countries. All the way, even in South Africa, we've seen recent times where there have been violence and unrest. We don't have that situation in Ghana. So that political stability creates an opportunity for businesses to thrive, for investors to bring foreign direct investment. So we get the advantage of that and the benefit of that. In addition to that, there are some other positive developments that are going to work for us as a country. One of them being the increasing price of commodities, our primary commodities. So we've seen gold prices, we've seen price of oil and others staying at high levels. So our primary commodities that we have relied on in the past, if you continue to increase production of these primary commodities, as a commodity-based economy, we are likely to take advantage of that. And then we also have some programs that we have rolled out to support some businesses. And I believe if those programs are properly implemented and monitored, we are likely to get a benefit as a country. So there are some positive developments, which if as a country we take advantage of, we will stand to benefit.
Okay.
I think, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you my last question because we're running out of time. I want to ask you about the upcoming media review and news that from our sources that the finance minister would not present a supplementary budget. Is that good news?
Well, I think it's a yes and no. Yes, in the sense that sounds we are not in a worsening situation. Usually when oil prices go below the $50 mark, there's immediate request for you to submit a supplementary budget support or to look at programs that immediately support the budget. Now, it means that there is we are not in a situation where it's a hopeless one. where there is an urgent need for that to happen. But on the other hand, we still need some insight or outlook from the ministry as to what it's doing to manage some of the risks that are still lingering. So there are some risks that we haven't completely gotten out of. One of them being our rising debt levels. The second being the impact of COVID, and the third wave as we find ourselves in, how government intends to manage that. So we expect the Minister of Finance in the statement that is expected to be laid or presented to Parliament to have some programs to manage some of the risks that have not been completely taken out as we speak, because those are things that we need to have programs or measures in place so we are not taken by surprise.
I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot next week after the Finance Minister presents the media budget review. Thanks so much, Yao Latte there. He is partner and financial advisory leader at Deloitte Ghana. Congratulations once again, and speak to you soon. Thanks, Yao. Now, you're watching Business Live. Still to come, the Ghana Stock Exchange is in the final stages of developing its digital infrastructure to allow potential investors and fund managers access information and also make listings. We'll be hearing from the Managing Director, Eko Afezi, next. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Business Live. The Ghana Stock Exchange is in the final stages of developing digital infrastructure to allow potential investors and fund managers access information and also make listings. This is part of measures by the exchange to increase investments in the market and make it easily accessible for all. Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afezi, disclosed this at a workshop for pension fund managers in Accra.
The workshop by the Ghana Stock Exchange and the National Pensions Regulatory Authority was aimed at attracting companies offering pension schemes and fund managers to consider listing pension funds on the stock market. This is an initiative that will deepen transparency between regulators and dealers. According to the Managing Director, Eko Afezi, it has become very necessary to use the fintechs in promoting activities of the bears. He disclosed that work has been finalized to open an online channel to help investors access the market with ease.
Another thing that we're trying to do is to improve the infrastructure of the market, which is also one of the pillars in the capital market plan. So what are we doing? One of the key things that we are doing is collaborating with fintech companies in order to develop very convenient digital solutions. We want to take the exchange to the doorstep of the investor so that the investor can just pick up a mobile phone and be able to invest through his broker anytime T, be able to access the market for information at any time T. And that is what we want to do as quickly as possible. Come in 2-3 weeks' time, we'll be launching one of them at maybe this place or the exchange. So that's one of the key things I want to do when it comes to infrastructure.
Meanwhile, Reverend Daniel Gbamitete, in a welcome speech, assured pension fund managers that Ghana's capital market has become the most trusted channel for raising funds and investment. He called on institutional investors to consider the market as a means of contributing to the growth of the Ghanaian economy.
It's not all doom because, like I said, within this period, 12-year period, 6 years, the market has been in the red. So it's possible if you take your time to do your analysis, your technical analysis, your fundamental analysis, you will be able to pick stocks that typically look at in determining how cheap the market is. It's very clear that it's a very great time to consider investing in the market. So for instance, we like to talk about the price-earnings ratio. If you look at the market price-earnings ratio, is 5.4 times. Great. If you look at it for the banking stocks, it's even more exciting.
The Ghana Stock Exchange is hoping to be the preferred choice for raising funds for businesses in the country.
All right, and that's Business Live. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You get the day's latest stories, including Bank of Ghana granting approval to 11 banks to pay dividend to shareholders. myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow.